Section 4 of Madame Butterfly. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Hawaii in June 2010. Section 4 of Madame Butterfly by John Luther Long. Chapter 9. About Birds. One day she took her courage, and the maid's too, for that matter, in both hands and called upon the American consul. She saw the vice-consul. There was a west wind, and it was warm at Nagasaki. He was dozing. When he woke, Madame Butterfly was bowing before him. At a little distance was the maid with the blonde baby strapped to her back. He was unable to account for them immediately. "Good night," said Cho-Cho-san, smiling amiably. The consul glanced apprehensively about. "Night? Not night, is it?" They both discovered the error at the same instant. "Ah, no. Tha's mistake. Me, I'm little Raddle. Excuse us. Tha's not nice, make mistake. We got call you good morning, I expect, or how do. What you thing?" "Whichever you like," he answered, without a smile. Then Cho-Cho-san waited for something further from the consul. Nothing came. She began to suspect that it was her business to proceed instead of his. I think mebbe you don't know me?" she questioned, to give him a chance. "Oh, yes, I do," declared the consul. In fact, everybody knew her, for one reason and another: her baby, her disowning, her beauty, her American marriage. "You are Cho-Cho-san, the daughter—" He forgot her father's name, though he had often heard it. "You used to dance, did you not?" "Aha! See? Tha's what I thing. You don't know me whichever. I nobody's daughter, just Missus Missus Frengalin Benjamin. No. Mrs. Benjamin Frengalin Pickerton. Everybody else outcast me. I little more Raddle." "Oh." The consul was genuinely surprised, and for the first time looked with interest at the child. Cho-Cho-san, to aid him, took trouble from the maid. Finally he politely asked her what he could do for her. "I got ask you a thing." She returned the baby to the maid. "Proceed," said the consul. "You know about birds in your country?" "Yes, something." "Ah, tha's what I thing. You know everything. Tha's why your country sen' you here, account you ver' wise." "You do me too much honor," laughed the consul. "You don't know?" She was distinctly alarmed. "Everything? No, only a few things." "But you know 'bout birds? Robins? Jus' little robins?" Her inflections denounced it a crime not to know. He was not proof against this, or against these. "Oh, yes," he said. "Of course." "Aha! Of course. Tha's what I all times thinging. Tha's mistake by you." They could laugh together now. "Ah, tell me, then, if you please, when do those robin nest again? Me, I thing it is later than in Japan, is it not? Just account the robin nesting again just now in Japan." The consul said yes, because the girl so evidently desired it, not because he knew. "Ah, tha's what I thing. Later. Moge later than in Japan, is it not?" Again her fervid emphasis obliged him to say yes, somewhat against his conscience. "An', say, when somebody gitting marry with 'nother body at your America, don't he got stay marry?" "Usually, yes. Decidedly, yes. Even sometimes when he doesn't wish to." "An' don't matter where they live?" "Not at all." "Ah, how that is nice! Say, you know all 'bout that. What you thing?" "Well, I know more about that than about ornithology. You see, I've been married, but I've never been a robin." The joke passed quite unnoticed. She put her great question. "An' no one can't git divorced from 'nother aexcep' in a large court house full judge?" "Yes," laughed the consul, "that is true." "An' that take a ver' long time?" "Yes, nearly always. The laws delay, an' sometimes they git inside a jail?" She was so avid that she risked the very great discourtesy of an interruption, and that, too, without a word of apology. Suzuki was for an instant ashamed for her. "Occasionally that happens, too, I believe." Every doubt had been resolved in her favor. "An' if they got a nice bebby yet, don't they don't everybody like that?" "I did, very much. Mine is a fine boy." "Sa ay, he loog lig you, purple eye, bald hairs, pink cheek?" "I'm afraid he does." "'Fraid?" "Glad, then." "Oh, 'fraid mean glad. Yaes. Tha' 's way Mr. B. F. Pikkerton talking. Don' mean what he say, an' don' say what he mean. Ezag." The consul laughed, but he could not quite understand the drift of her questioning. "If people have a nice bebby alig that, they don' give him away, not to nobody, they don' lig? What you thing?" "I should think not!" For a moment he looked savage as a young father can. Cho Cho San's face glowed. She stood consciously aside, that the consul might the better see the baby on Suzuki's back. He understood, and smiled in the good fellowship of new parenthood. He made some play with the child, and called him a fine fellow. "Ah, you naever see no soach baby, I expeg?" In the largesse of his fellowship he declared that he had not. He had only recently been engaged in putting the same question to his friends. She had hoped, indeed, that he would go on from that and say more, the subject so abundantly merited it, but she now remembered that, in her haste to satisfy her doubts, she had neglected all those innumerable little inquiries which go to make up the graceful game of Japanese courtesy. Though she might neglect them with Pinkerton, she must not with a stranger who was obliging her. Chapter 10 Gentle Lying "Ah, how is that health? Also, I am sorry I woke you up, excellent, an' that I interrupt your languages. That is not a happy for the most exalted health, to be wake up an' interrupt. Therefore I pray your honorable pardon. An' how is that health?" The consul said that he was quite well. "Ah, how that is nize! An' you always sleeping well, most honorable?" He nodded. "Yaes, I hear you sleep." "Oh, tha' 's not joke. No, no, no." He had laughed, but she would never do that. "But I do snore, I believe sometimes." He was not proud of even this, of course. "Oh, jus' lig gentle breezes." He said that he could not do better than adopt this charming euphemism. "Also, how ole you gitting ver' soon?" 30. A Japanese always adds a few years. She therefore thought him younger, and her veneration abated accordingly. But he was in fact older. "Tha' 's also nize. Ver' nize. I wish I so ole. That Mr. B. F. Pikkerton he lig me more if older, I thing." She sighed. "I don't know about that. The American point of view differs." But he would not meddle. "How old are you, pray?" This was only the proper return for her courtesy. Besides, the consul was enjoying the usually dull game of decorum to day. The girl was piquant in a most dazzling fashion. "Me? I 'bout What he had said made her doubt a little the Japanese idea. "'Bout most 27, when the chrysanthemum blooms again." She was 17. "Yaes, 'bout most 27. with a barely perceptible rising inflection.